Democrats, leftists, and liberal sects of scum. Welcome to the Snake Pit with your host, Smitty.
Hey folks, welcome back to Snake Pit. Smitty here again. I want to get started about a very pressing topic today. Something that I think is the most important issue, I guess you would say, facing the United States of America. But first, I've got to get this off my chest. I had quite a laugh this morning. My son showed me this YouTube video. I'm not sure who put it up. Maybe it was Tim Cash. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember what. Anyway, a kid had been banned. He was at a video game competition, one of these things where they play Xbox or whatever competitively. And behind his friend, he threw up the OK sign, like, okay, man, you beat him, you crushed him. And apparently the SJW lunatic far left in the United States has now decided that the OK symbol is a symbol for white power. And maybe it was Sargon of Akkad, I'm not sure. It was Sargon of Akkad. Sargon was right. This is the OK symbol. I've been using this since I was a little kid. It's internationally known. It's even got an emoji. This means white power only if you let it mean white power. To everybody else in the world, it's okay. So from now on, whenever I sign off on my videos, I'm going to say, okay. Just wanted to get that out of the way. What's up today? Well, the first thing I wanted to do was get that out of the way, but maybe the more pressing thing I wanted to talk about was what's happening with this country. And there are a lot of bad things happening with this country. We are becoming a country of uns. Unpeople. Untraditional. Ungrounded. Unfocused. I could go on. Unethical strikes me as one of the biggest, though. And I would frame that right at the government. Left and right alike, it doesn't matter. And I say because right now we have 100,000 people a day trying to get across the United States border. Think about that for a second. 100,000 people a day. Now, the largest city near me is Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Used to be about 100,000 people. That's back during this heyday. I'd say right now it's down to about 50 or 60. The second largest is probably Scranton, Pennsylvania. We're here in the northeastern part of the state. Give them another 50. So if you take the metro area, including those two cities, it's the entire northeastern Pennsylvania metropolitan area. Every day, every single day, trying to illegally cross the border into the United States. That's over 1 million people a year. There is no country anywhere that can absorb 1 million people a year and stay a country. Can't happen. I don't care if you're left, right, up, down, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. It's not a political thing. You cannot stay a country and absorb 1 million people a year. It's insane. And I say we're becoming an uncountry because that's what we're becoming. There are enclaves all over the United States right now where if you don't speak a certain language other than English, don't go there. Things in the stores are in another language. Advertisements are in another language. Billboards are in another language. What is spoken is another language other than English. One of the requirements to become a United States citizen is that you must learn to speak and write English. Illegals don't do that. Illegals have no intention of assimilating into this country. That's why they're here illegally. Legal immigrants want to assimilate. They don't just want to come to America. They want to be Americans. You think Dinesh D'Souza doesn't want to be an American? You think he's not proud to be an American? Come on, people. We're becoming an country. Undocumented, unvaccinated, uneducated people. We've got an entire poor, uneducated, unvaccinated, unready workforce coming into this country that's not ready to work. Do you really think that the 16-year-old mother who illegally crosses into the country with 2 or 3 small little babies, you think she's going to become a productive part of the country? A productive citizen? Do you really think that's going to happen? Or do you think she's going to use social services paid for by the American taxpayer? Excuse me. That's what's going to happen. A nation of uns, unprepared, on everything. And if we dare say anything like this, oh, you're a racist, you're a xenophobe, you're a bigot. No, I want legal immigrants to come here who can contribute to the country. People with college educations, people with trades, people with skills. I'm working hard to make sure that when my son finishes high school, he can either go into something productive trade-wise, or he can go on to college and he can contribute from there. These people are coming here with nothing. Get into a piece from the Washington Examiner. Report, America attracting poor, uneducated immigrants. Excuse me, and there you see the picture. Citizenship, yes. Deportation, no. They're clearly all of Latin origin. These people are waving the American flag right in front, but notice how they get that one guy stuck there with their back, and he's waving the Mexican flag. Isn't that interesting? Don't deport me, but I'm wearing an El Salvador t-shirt. And I'm waving the Mexican flag, but don't deport me. So the helping hand offered by social welfare programs is being utilized by most legal and illegal immigrant families. The latest sign that many immigrants come to America for taxpayer-funded benefits like Medicaid, subsidized food, and cash, according to a new report based on census data. Now, I know that if a social justice warrior or a lefty hears this, they're going to say right away, oh, the census, oh, that's racist. Okay, I guess. Because everything's racist anymore. The social justice warrior wakes up in the morning, and the first thing he thinks of, before he even decides if he's going to have coffee, tea, or cornflakes, how can I be offended today? Who can offend me? Give me a fucking break. In analyzing the new census reports, the Center for Immigration Studies found that immigrant families with 1 or more children, very important, 1 or more children, use welfare far more than native, meaning me, people who were born here, American families. Indeed, welfare use by illegal immigrant households is certainly a concern, but bigger issue is welfare use by legal immigrants. That was a surprise to me, said Stephen Camarata, the Center's Director of Research and author of the report. 3/4 of immigrant households using welfare are headed by legal immigrants. Legal immigration is supposed to benefit the country, yet so many legal immigrants are not able to support themselves or their children. This raises important questions about their selection criteria used for legal immigration, like the lottery system. Trump was right. This is a joke. Way to put your name in a lottery system? You could be from a terrorist nation. You could be from what Donald Trump said, our president, a third world shithole. You could be an unperson, uneducated, underfed, no knowledge, no skills, have God knows what disease, be carrying, and hey, you can legally come here now. Come on. This is what intelligent nations do? I mean, I really think we have to ask ourselves who's running the asylum here. And we look, and it's Maxine Waters and Ocasio-Cortez and Tlaib and Omar and Pelosi. The woman can't even string a sentence together. I think she's in advanced Parkinson's. It's amazing. And these are the people making the laws. The report highlights the economics of immigration, especially illegal immigration, and it comes as Syrian refugees are seeking to settle in European nations that provide rich welfare benefits. As good as the welfare benefits are in the United States, the European countries, I mean, they're cradle to grave. They're social democracies, and they go well beyond what the U.S. does. The report also suggests that America is attracting poor, uneducated immigrants. Low levels of education, not legal status, are the main reason immigrant welfare use is high. It shows that legal immigrant households make extensive use of welfare, while illegal immigrant households primarily benefit from food programs and Medicaid through U.S.-born children. Isn't that interesting? Everybody knows about the services that the citizenship services here that fly pregnant women and bring pregnant women into the United States who are illegal, so that they can have their babies here. And once we have a baby here, well, that's an anchor baby. So God let mom and dad stay here because we don't break up families. No, other countries do, but not the United States. So an illegal comes here to have their baby because the baby will be a U.S. citizen. Because some brain dead mutant years ago decided that birthright citizenship should be a thing, even though the Constitution clearly says it's not. The Constitution says people covered under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. Well, an illegal is someone who's here illegally. Hence, they're from another country, not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. But the left interprets that just like they interpret Roe v. Wade to mean you can murder your baby. Amazing where we've come to in this country. As a traditional American, it makes me sick. It really makes me want to puke. Legal immigrant households account for legal immigrant households account for 3/4 of all immigrant households accessing one or more welfare programs. That's a lot. Gee, maybe we should be screening the people we let in here? No. That would be racist. Racist, bigoted. How dare you? Of legal immigrant households, legal, not illegal, legal immigrant households with children, 72% access one or more welfare programs, compared to 52% of native households. 20%, that's a lot. It's a lot for native households, I have to admit, which is pretty sad. But 72%, so 3/4 of legal immigrants who come here, who we've said, yeah, come on in, you've done what you need to do, come on, you're an American now. 3/4 of them are accessing welfare programs? Why are they here? What are they contributing? Of households headed by immigrants in the country illegally, 62% used one or more welfare programs in 2012, compared to only 30% of native households. So that's double. That's double. Who pays for that? Well, I'll tell you who pays for it. You pay for it. I pay for it. The U.S. taxpayer pays for it. Aren't we generous? No, we're fucking stupid. Households headed by immigrants illegally in the country have higher use rates than native households overall for food programs, 57% versus 22%, and Medicaid, 51% versus 23%. Use of cash programs by illegal immigrants is lower than use by natives, 5 to 10%, because they're illegal, they can't get it. As is use of housing programs, 4 to 6, same thing. Although getting a social security number, I understand from the leader of the California State General Assembly is pretty easy because he's got them for his whole family. What a piece of shit would do that. Wow. I'm amazed he hasn't been impeached and thrown out of office and thrown in jail. The man admits federal crimes on television and gets away with it. And this is the country we live in. I mean, left, right, when Rahm Emanuel criticizes what you've done as a crime and says it's a joke that you got away with it, it's a travesty. You know something's wrong. And I'm talking about Jussie Smollett. Race baiter, bigot. The man's all of it. He's a piece of human shit. And he got away with crime. And you look at what's going on in this country, and, my 16-year-old looks at me sometimes and says, Dad, why do we even have laws? And I look at him, and I don't know how to answer. What am I supposed to say? Well, because some of the people obey them, or everybody's supposed to obey the law, son, but only some people do. Now we've got this whole scam with a wealthy Hollywood people connected trying to get their kids into colleges, paying thousands of dollars and photoshopping their bodies onto athletes to get them in, lying to say they're enough. And my son says to me, Dad, how are these people getting away with this? And I say, they got money. They got money, kid. Go into a field where you make a lot of money, because in this country, money talks and shit walks. Look at Jussie Smollett. Money, connected, he walked. He was charged with, 16 felonies. They let him walk. But we're getting off track here. Of illegal immigrant households with children, 87% access one or more welfare programs, compared to 52% of native households. Education plays a larger role in explaining welfare use than legal status. The most extensive use of welfare is by less educated immigrants who are in the country legally. Of households headed by legal immigrants without a high school diploma, why would you let somebody into your country who did not have a high school diploma? Just wondering, why would you do that? Again, are they going to be in some high-tech industry, in some high-tech field? How exactly are they going to contribute to American society? Just asking. Just throwing it out there. 75% use one or more welfare programs, as do 64% of households headed by legal immigrants with only a high school education. Again, what are you going to do with that? We could go on here, and it boggles the mind. Restrictions on new legal immigrants' access to welfare have not prevented them from accessing programs at high rates, because restrictions often apply only to a modest share of immigrants at any one time. Some programs are not restricted. There are numerous exceptions and exemptions, and some provisions are entirely unenforced. Equally important, immigrants, including those illegally in the country, can receive welfare on behalf of their U.S.-born children. So again, anchor babies, birthright citizenship, where does it come from? It's not in the Constitution. You may think it is, but it's not there any more than your right to murder your unborn baby is. Well, now your born baby. If you live in Washington State now, you can murder your baby even after your baby's been born. Sickening, absolutely sickening. And I've said it before. I'm not a real big religion guy, but God is going to come and judge this world, and God's going to judge this country, and there are a lot of people who are going to be in deep, deep, deep trouble when he comes. A lot of things going on wrong. You see me drinking out of my trusty Corksicle. I'll put a little plug in here for the Corksicle brand. These things are incredible. Whatever you put in them cold. I put water in these. I drink a lot of water at night. I'm diabetic, among all the other health ailments I have. I put water in these things with ice. 2 days later, the ice is still inside. That's how cold they keep your drinks. If you're diabetic, or you know a diabetic, they're constantly drinking water, constantly going to the bathroom. I take probably a dozen different medications because of the car accidents I've been in and the problems I have. But today was a really bad day for me. My blood sugar's been all over the place today, and I've had to take more insulin than I normally do, and a lot of other things. And as a result, my mouth gets really dry. So excuse me ahead of time, because you probably see me drinking and you think, oh, this guy's like Marco Rubio, drinking his water. But I really have no choice, or I wouldn't be able to talk. So please excuse me. Moving on to the uncountry, undocumented, uneducated, unregistered, unwanted people that are creating a nation of uns, because when they get here, they do know better. Let's face the facts. If you get here and you look for a high tag, you're looking for a job, what are you going to get? If you get here legally, a high school diploma, the best you're going to get is a service job. And you're going to have to access welfare programs, or you won't make it. If you come here illegally and you have a high school diploma, you're going to take any kind of under-the-table, scummy, shitty, disgusting, dirty job you can, or you're going to get into crime. It's just that simple. If you're illegal and you have less than a high school diploma, same deal. The job that I worked at before I became disabled, I was a senior business analyst, and I did quite a bit of IT work. And I was amazed at the number of Indian immigrants who worked for the company and were contractors for the company. Probably 75% of the IT people were Indian. And these are bright guys, super bright guys. They knew their stuff. I was among the 25% that was, native-born American, white, Caucasian. But it was amazing. These guys are highly skilled, highly educated, and a lot of them that I knew when I worked there, they would tell me right up, we don't really like to get close because, we're not going to be here that long. Our visas, we can't stay. These are people trying to get into the country who couldn't. Highly educated, highly skilled people making good money. They could contribute to American society and wanted to stay, but they couldn't. They couldn't get the right visa to come here. They couldn't become citizens. Couldn't stay. But yet we've got people like Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar telling us that we need open borders. I laugh at Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis O'Rourke, telling people he wants to tear down the border walls between the United States and Mexico. What kind of a moron would say that? That's not even pandering. That is absolute stupidity. Anybody in the Border Patrol or ICE will tell you, citizens living along the border will tell you, that when a wall goes up, crime goes down. Just that simple. Every single time, cut and dry. Not maybe, not sometimes, not part of the time. Every time. But Beto wants to rip down the walls. Him and Chris Hayes, another tough guy. They want to rip down the walls. Really? We would have a lot more uns in the country if we wanted to do that. So I'm going to move on to an article by Judicial Watch. And this one's really concerning to me because just north of me in New York State, right now, they are dealing with a huge outbreak of measles. Just south of me, just outside Hazleton, Pennsylvania, they just dealt with a huge outbreak of tuberculosis. And another killer, polio. Diseases that have been all but eradicated in the United States. But thanks to unvaccinated illegal aliens coming into the country who are unsanitary, unhygienic, unvaccinated, unkept, now we're dealing with diseases that we wiped out 50 years ago. And yes, I mean dirty. Donald Trump said, our president said that some of these people are dirty people. I got news for you. If you're living in this, the outskirts of Tegucigalpa and you don't have running water or a toilet, you probably don't know what a bar of soap is. I'm sorry. A lot of these people come from third world areas that the president called shitholes. And in many cases, their drinking water and cooking water and cleaning water comes from the same place where they urinate and defecate. And the sewage runs into. They're dirty. We walk around with, Americans walk around with bottles of hand sanitizer stuck to their keychains and stuck on their belts and in their pockets. And we're sanitizing our hands constantly and spraying stuff on our hands, and we're, germaphobes. These people don't even know what soap is. Now, I'm not saying that everybody that comes from another country is dirty and unhygienic, so don't even go there, okay? Don't waste your time. But a lot of these illegal immigrants who come into the country, illegal aliens, they don't have any kind of real standards of personal hygiene. Many of them, the first time they see a doctor is when they cross the border and they're apprehended by the Border Patrol. Really. They haven't been vaccinated for anything. So Judicial Watch says illegal alien minors spreading TB, dengue, swine flu. Wonderful. This comes back from July of 2014. And I did this deliberately because I wanted to illustrate how far back we've known this was happening. Fast forward now 5 years into the future, with the massive number of illegals trying to get into the country now. Do you think this has gotten better or worse? The hordes of illegal immigrant minors entering the U.S. are bringing serious diseases, including swine flu, a killer, dengue fever, a killer, possibly Ebola virus. Wonderful. If I understand that one correctly, you bleed from every orifice in your body until you die. And it's almost 100% fatal. And tuberculosis that present a danger to the American public as well as Border Patrol agents forced to care for the kids, according to a U.S. congressman who is also a medical doctor. Oh, but he's probably a racist bigot. This has created a severe and dangerous crisis, says Georgia lawmaker Phil Gingrey. Most of the unaccompanied alien children, UACs, are coming from Central America, and they're importing infectious diseases considered to be largely eradicated in this country. And things we wiped out. We were kids, we got shots for everything, measles, mumps, chicken pox, you name it. You better check your kids, and you better check yourself and make sure your vaccinations are still good. Additionally, many of the migrants lack basic vaccinations, again, such as those to prevent chickenpox or measles, leaving America's young children and the elderly particularly susceptible, Gingrey reveals. So we already know that when illegals come, we put them in schools, and we give them medical care, and we do everything we need to do because America's a compassionate country. That's what Americans do. So now you've got kids who've never been vaccinated against anything in the same classroom as your kids. Now we know that herd immunity protects to a degree, but maybe the kids' vaccinations aren't quite up to snuff. And now this races through a population, really bad, really bad. And if more, let's say there are 5 or 6 illegal alien kids in the classroom haven't been vaccinated, and only 10 or 15 have, the herd immunity breaks down. In a hard-hitting letter to the director of Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, Congressman Gingrey demands that the agency keep Americans informed about its plan to handle the growing public health crisis. Public health crisis. No, there's no crisis. There's no crisis at the border. There's no public health crisis. It's all invented by the far right. Posed by the influx of minors, as the unaccompanied children continue to be transported to shelters around the country, on commercial airliners and other forms of transportation, I have serious concern that diseases carried by these children may begin to spread too rapidly to control. Think about that. Imagine an outbreak of dengue fever or an outbreak of Ebola. In fact, as you undoubtedly know, some of these diseases have no known cure. Ebola, I believe, is one of them. I think there are a lot of therapies for Ebola, but I don't think it's curable. Kingby goes on to mention reports of the Border Patrol agents contracting diseases through contact with infected illegal aliens. A few weeks ago, Judicial Watch reported that the Department of Homeland Security is now forcing Border Patrol agents to serve as babysitters for unaccompanied children. Are you kidding me? Wish I would have had them around to babysit my kid when he was young. An internal agency document obtained by Judicial Watch calls for agents with child care or juvenile teaching and/or counseling experience to work at various shelters housing migrants. Officers from the frontline agency responsible for preventing terrorists and weapons of mass destruction from entering the U.S. will now be babysitters. If it wasn't so scary, it would be funny. But it's not funny, and it is scary. They will be responsible for feeding, monitoring, interacting, and providing security for unaccompanied illegal alien minors until they are placed elsewhere. And who pays for that? You pay for it, and I pay for it. We're so generous, aren't we? Aren't we so generous? My puppy says we're generous. To handle the escalating health crisis, CDC has activated an Emergency Operations Center, EOC. But Gingrich points out in his letter that Congress and the public are being kept in the dark about what it's doing. Now, this is before Donald Trump was elected, so I'm sure that our imposter-in-chief, traitor-in-chief, ex-president Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. Barack Hussein Obama, kept us in the dark. You know, this was the cat who first put kids in cages, but Trump got blamed for it. So he says, I firmly believe the public deserves to know the specific actions EOC and other departments of the CDC are taking to combat and prevent the spread of communicable diseases, the lawmaker writes. He goes on to demand that the CDC take immediate action to assess public risk posed by unaccompanied children and their subsequent transfer to different parts of the country. That's something great that Obama was doing. He would let these illegals in, and under cover of night, he would just shuttle them all across the country. All 50 states. You wake up in the morning and suddenly there'd be like 50 illegal aliens in your town. And he did it all over the place, like the middle of nowhere in Montana and Idaho and Wyoming and Utah, all over the country. Spread the wealth. What a piece of human dog shit, Barack Obama. And of course, unlike most presidents who had the class and decency to keep his mouth shut after he left office, not Obama. Oh no. He's a real social justice warrior. Oh, the things he did to the country when he was here. But that's for another show. I would also like information on what is being done to protect Border Patrol agents who come in contact with these diseases. What decontamination efforts are taking place and what's included in medical screenings of the children. I don't know about you, but I've never seen any of this information anywhere online. I checked this morning, I couldn't find anything, and I emailed my congressman's office and hadn't heard back anything yet. Not that I expect to. I mean, he's a joke anyway, he's a communist. The administration has worked hard to keep that information secret. Gee, I wonder why. Though some of it is slowly leaking out. And remember, this was back in 2014. One major news station reports that tuberculosis is spreading at the camps housing illegal immigrant minors, while the government downplays the severity of the matter. Yeah, it's only a fatal disease. Let's just downplay it. Better yet, let's not tell the people at all. At least half a dozen anonymous sources, including nurses and healthcare providers treating unaccompanied minors at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, say the government is covering up a very serious health threat. Specifically, tuberculosis has become a dangerous issue at both the border and in the camps, according to several sources cited in the story. One source confirms the amount of tuberculosis is astonishing. Quote unquote, astonishing. To those of you who don't know words well, that means an awful lot. So I say we're becoming a nation of uns because it's estimated that during a year, we could have a million illegals come into the country. How long do you think this country can sustain that? Undocumented, unskilled, unwanted, illegal, uneducated, unwanted people who come in illegally. What do you think that's going to do to the economy? What do you think that's going to do to the demographics of this country? When I was a teacher back in another life, I had a battle with one social justice warrior who told me, you know what your problem is? You're just too damned white. I got her fired. It took a while, but I got her fired. I don't know where she is now. The same teacher had been putting on bulletin boards that Columbus didn't discover America, he invaded it. Come on, man. It's not bad to have traditions. That's what makes a country a country. It's not bad to have a culture. That's what makes a country a country. It's not bad to have a common language. That's what makes a country a country. And when you look on a map, you can tell where a state is and what a state is by its border. You can tell where and what a country is by its border. A border isn't just an arbitrary line drawn on a map. It's the territory of a country, of a state, of a city, of a county. Borders mean something. Without borders, you don't have a country. And I laugh at these moronic imbeciles on the left when the president says if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. It's true. It's just a map with land on it. Now I know what the left wants to do. Everybody knows what the left wants to do. You're an idiot if you don't believe it. The left wants to give away free stuff like they always do. You pay for it, I pay for it, but it's free to them. They live in their gated communities, in their fancy apartments, surrounded by armed guards. They don't go to the grocery store. They don't pay for gasoline. They don't pay for food, or they don't pay for any of the things that you and I pay for. They don't live the lives that you or I live. They don't experience the daily pains, the daily sufferings, the daily outrages that you and I do, the challenges that we face. But they love to spend our money. Boy, they love to spend our money. I was laughing at Pelosi today on TV, talking about how much money she was going to spend. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not your money, bitch. The government doesn't have any money, not a goddamn dime. That money belongs to the U.S. taxpayers. It's there for you to use wisely. Everybody knows what the Democrats want to do. Give away free stuff. When all the people from other countries know it's the Democrats letting illegals in. The Democrats want all the immigration legal. It doesn't matter. Come, we'll take care of you. Beto O'Rourke shouldn't be a border. Kamala Harris, we bring them all in. Who do you think they're going to vote for? You think they're going to vote for a conservative Republican who says, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get an education, follow the rules, work hard, and make something of yourself? Or do whatever you want, we'll give you free stuff. Ocasio-Cortez. Green New Deal says you don't even have to work. We'll pay you to do nothing if you don't want to work. We'll just pay you. Who wouldn't want to come here? And who wouldn't want to vote Democrat? If they keep going the way they're going, the DNC already has said in internal leaked documents that they know it'll be a one-party country soon. One party. And the Democrats don't want to secure the borders because they want the new votes. And the Republicans don't want to secure the borders because they don't want to lose the few votes they have. I said to my son, we were watching TV earlier today, I said, He and his friends laugh at me all the time. I look at them and they'll do something crazy and I'll just shake my head and say, I weep for the future. And a lot of times I say it tongue in cheek just to bust their chops, but a lot of times I really mean it. I weep for the future. I'm going to be 53 in July. I don't know what this country's going to look like when my son's 53. He's 16 years old. What's it going to look like in 40 years? It's sad. It's really sad. And it's infuriating. And we've got so many idiots in this country and the government right now, and it just seems like the inmates are running the asylum. The Cortezes and the Omars and the Talibs and the Pelosi's and the Kamala Harris's and all the rest of them. They don't have a fucking clue. They want to make the rest of the country like California. Newsflash, morons. Hundreds of businesses are leaving California every week. Every week. People are leaving California. Leaving. You can't afford to live there. My niece and her husband just left California not long ago. And he is a pretty well educated, I think he's into electronic engineering. He just left California. It was unlivable. Unlivable. They were there in San Diego, as a matter of fact, not far from the border in San Diego. They were there 6 months and they had their car stolen. Then they had their Jeep stolen. And the cost of living was insane. They were paying like, I think he said like $3,000 a month for a tiny apartment. $3,000 a month. That's insane. You could get a mansion here in my part of Pennsylvania for $3,000 a month. 8 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. And they want the rest of the country to become that. Again, because they don't pay for anything. They're out of touch. They don't deal with anything you or I deal with. They're the political class, the political elites. And if they get their way, if President Trump isn't able to stop them, and I love President Trump, voted for him, I will vote for him again because there really is no alternative. There really isn't. As bad of an alternative as he may be, the alternatives are just too much to even imagine. If he's not able to turn things around, then we will become an un-country. And all those uns that I listed earlier, unskilled, unvaccinated, uncared for, unwanted, unskilled, just almost anything with an un in front of it, that'll become America. Are we going to become a third world shithole? And if and when we do, and the next generation looks back, what are they going to think about our generation for not stopping it and not seeing the clear writing on the wall? What are they going to say? What am I going to say to my grandchildren when I talk about how the country used to be? And they say, Papa, how did it happen? What do I say? What do I say? Between what I think is the biggest issue, biggest crisis facing the United States right now, and that's illegal immigration and immigration. And the political correctness on the left. I see us in 40 years becoming a communist, totalitarian, third world dictatorship like the Soviet Union used to be, where everybody was poor except the party members. But then nobody will want to come here. So I guess the immigration problem will solve itself. That I see as the biggest problem with this country. And a lot of people don't see it. A lot of people do see it, but they can't do anything about it. Think about that. If things keep going the way they're going, what are you going to tell your grandchildren when they ask, why did we let that happen? Because we're the ones right now who should be getting involved and trying to stop what's going on. So the social justice warrior gets up every morning and wonders, how can I be offended today? What can I find offensive? I'm challenging you to wake up in the morning and say, what can I do to help President Trump? What can I do to stop illegal immigration and stop the wacky unness that America's becoming? I don't know. But I know I'm involved in my community, and I'm going to stay involved and try and do everything I can to keep this country as much as I can like it was when I grew up. Because though I'm a libertarian, I am a conservative. And I love the past, and I love the way things were. And a lot of times people talk about the good old days, and they really weren't so good. Well, the good old days, my good old days, really were good. And it's too bad we can't go back. Well, we can't. But we can try and make it better. Till then, everything's A-okay in the snake pit. This is Smitty, signing off. Until next time. Take care, folks.